Today on Stock Charts in Focus, we're digging into a hidden gem on the site, our seasonality tool. This allows you to dig into the price performance history over a customizable period of time for any of the symbols that you're watching on stock charts. That's stocks, ETFs, indexes, all that good stuff. You can dig back through the price history, see what sort of seasonal trends emerge. A great tool on its own for studying what might happen in the future. Also a great portfolio rebalancing tool. Lots of interesting use cases for our seasonality tool on stock charts. So we're going to dig into that on today's episode. Of course, you know what it is. It's all new. It's all here. It's Stock Charts in Focus. So welcome to the show, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me here on Stock Charts in Focus, our product focus show on the channel where we dig into the site, dive into the features, make sure that you're getting the most value out of stock charts that you possibly can. If you're new, we got new episodes every Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Stock Charts TV and up on our YouTube channel after that. So lots there to go back through too. You can always dig into previous editions of the show. Make sure that you're aware of everything that we've been covering. My name is Grayson Roze. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at Stock Charts, and it's great to be with you, especially on a day like today when we get to dive into what I think is a real hidden gem on stock charts. That's our seasonality tool. A fan favorite for a lot of people, especially those who have been using stock charts for a long time. We really have a lot of people who love our seasonality tool. So it's going to be great to show you through that, walk you through that if you're not familiar with it. Make sure that you're aware of all that it can do and you can bring it into your own process on stock charts. So let's dive into it right now. Here we go. So first things first, we need to make sure that you're aware of how to get to the seasonality tool. So we're going to start from our members dashboard, the first page that you see when you log in. Over on the left side of the screen on the member tools panel, if you scroll down through this under the charting tools group, you'll see a link for seasonality. Give that a click. That's going to launch you right over to the seasonality tool. So if you're on the dashboard, that's a nice, easy way to get over to the tool. If you're on our charts and tools page, a great directory of everything that's there, a page I actually love to point people to because it's a pretty full resource for getting to really any tool on the site. But up here at the top of the screen, you'll see that you have a card for seasonality. You can go ahead and type in a ticker symbol there. Hit go. That's going to, again, launch you right over to the seasonality tool. Now, the most common way to get there, though, is up here at the top of any page on stock charts. Open up this gray menu and you'll see, again, there's an entry for seasonality. You give that a click. That's going to load in the menu right there. And from here, all you have to do is type in a ticker symbol, hit enter, and there we go. So we're now looking at a seasonality chart of Apple. It's not too complicated, but you do have to sort of learn what these numbers mean. Now, this is monthly seasonality, so you got 12 bars up on your screen. And you'll see that in the bottom right, we're looking at 5 years worth of data. This little 5 means that we're looking at the past 5 years worth of price data. We can drag this out, though, for Apple. We can drag this little slider out to be up to 20 years worth of data. So in this case, now instead of looking at 5 years, we're looking at 20 years worth of data. And we can actually drag this back and forth through time too. So we can go even further back into the history of Apple. You'll see that now we're looking at a 20-year period from 1990 to 2009. So you can drag this out to be more data. You can also drag it back in time to look at different periods. Personally, I think that the sort of sweet spot for seasonality is the last 10 years, especially when you're looking at an individual company like Apple, a specific stock like that, a company that's been evolving so much over the last 20 years, for instance. I love to look at the last 10. I think it gives you a little bit more of an up-to-date view on the seasonal price trends for a company like Apple. So I'm going to drag this over to be 10, and I'm going to look at the most recent 10 years of history. So in this case, now we're looking at 2012 to 2021. You'll see that we have 12 bars up on the screen, one for each month. You got the little month labels right there. For each bar, there are two numbers that you need to be aware of. So the number at the top of the bar is the percentage of time for that month that Apple closed up. So in this case, January over the last 10 years, 50% of Januaries over the last 10 years have closed up for Apple. Now, if we look at a bigger month, more of a winning month like July for Apple, which has been a really, really strong month over the last 10 years, 89% of the time, Apple has closed up in the month of July. So this number at the top of each bar is going to give you basically the percentage of time that Apple has closed up over that period of time for that specific month. The number at the bottom of the bar is going to tell you the average price change in that month for that security over that period of time. So for instance, let's take a look again at our July bar here. 89% of the time, Apple has closed up in July over the past 10 years. And the average price change has been 6.4% up for Apple. So Apple has gone up an average of 6.4% in July's over the past 10 years. Now, when this is a negative return for a specific month, for instance, here in September, we can see that the average price change for Apple is actually down 1%. You can see the little negative sign right there. So that's going to tell you that Apple has actually been, on average, a declining stock in September's. So those are the two numbers that you need to be aware of. For each bar, you've got the percentage of time that Apple went up, and then you've got the average price change at the bottom of the bar. It pretty much is that simple. It's not an overly complex tool. You got 12 bars, one for each month, and this is going to give you a sense of how that specific security has performed from month to month over the last whatever number of years you want to use, whether it's 5, 10, 20, anything like that. Now, you've got a couple other options to this tool that I want to make sure you're aware of. One is over here on the bottom left side of the tool. You can actually break this out. Instead of looking at each specific month, you can look at price in a couple of different ways. So here we're looking at more of a perf chart like view where we've got each year, each of those 10 years broken out into its own line, starting at 0 and showing how we trade through the year. So in this case specifically, we can see that the green highlight here, which looks like it was 2019, was the best year for Apple. And you can sort of hover over that line and it brightens up a little bit. And you can see the entire year there, all on the same scale. So you can see compare one year to the next. Now, the other option that you have right next to that is to sort of break this out into separate views. Without the scale, you can just sort of see the lines there for each year and sort of see how things have moved throughout the year. Again, you can hover over each line to sort of brighten it up, and you've got your legends here that tell you which year it is. So a couple of different views here for your seasonality chart. The most common, though, is that histogram view. This is the one that most of us use, and a great view, especially when we're sort of digging into stocks that you own. Maybe you're trying to get a sense of what might happen as we go into different months. Apple is one that I pulled up specifically because I always find that the seasonality trends for Apple in the last 10 years, especially around the fall, are pretty interesting. If you think about Apple as a company, what they've been doing are these big product launches in the fall, generally in September. And there's a lot of anticipation, right, about what's going to happen with the latest phone or the newest headphones or whatever their new product is going to be. And so on average, we've actually seen a lot of weakness here in September when we're not really sure what's going to happen with that new product launch. Is it going to be a big flop? Is it going to be a big success? So over the last 10 years, Apple being sort of a net decliner, an average decliner actually in September, only rising 33% of the time. September, when that big product launch has generally been sort of the weakest month for Apple. But inevitably, as we know, Apple, comes out with a big winner of an iPhone or a big winner of headphones or whatever it is, and October ends up being sort of a big month to the upside. That uncertainty of the product launch is gone, and so you have actually an average of 2.9% gain, and 67% of the time, Apple has been a gainer in October. So it's interesting to sort of dig into this for specific companies and think about, maybe how some of these trends have evolved over time and why they're there, those kinds of questions. Also a great portfolio rebalancing tool. If you've got, maybe bigger positions, sort of more diversified ETFs or something like that, and you want to rebalance from one to the next, from quarter to quarter, this seasonality tool can be really helpful there to sort of give you a sense of maybe when you should be buying, when you should be selling. I like to think of this as a reason to look. It's another data point. It's not something specific that I'm going to act on, but it is going to be sort of a piece of the puzzle, something that I'm combining with my charts to help me sort of make better decisions about what's going to happen in the market. So lots to play with though here for our seasonality tool. And the final thing that I wanted to dig into was actually this comparison feature of it as well. So in this case, we're looking at just Apple, but we've also got this comparison box where we can type in, for instance, I like to do Apple versus SPY, which is the S&P 500 ETF. If we type in that, and let's drag this back out to be our 10 years worth of data. So now we're looking at the percentage of months in which Apple outperformed SPY, the S&P 500, over the last 10 years. So we can run these sort of same seasonal analyses on basically ratio charts, Apple versus S&P 500. So this is another fun one to play with. This is where you can really spend hours digging into the seasonality tool. A lot there to play with. But that comparison feature is another great one to use and compare, different stocks maybe that you own to the S&P 500, see how their price relative has evolved over time, and see seasonal trends and everything too there. So lots here for you to explore with our seasonality tool. A great one to work into your stock charts process, your trading or investing workflow. Really, our seasonality tool is part of a sort of a collection of other tools on the site. So I'm going to go back here to our charts and tools page. We've got our standard charting tools, Sharp Charts and ACP that everyone is familiar with, but we've got this collection of sort of other chart tools, other, maybe technical adjacent tools. Point and figure being one of them, but seasonality here. We've got Perf Charts, which is a fantastic price performance tool to play with. Candle Glance, kind of bringing in mini charts. Gallery View allows you to view your charts in different time frames, sort of all in one view. RRG Charts, a fantastic invention from Julius de Kempenaar, one of our contributors here on the channel. A great view of sort of relative strength and momentum, how those are changing for a specific group of securities. We've also got things like market carpets and the dynamic yield curve. The yield curve tool, especially right now with this rising rate environment that we're in, is a fun one to play with. So lots here, and you can explore it all on our charts and tools page. But again, seasonality sort of being one of those other tools. We'll probably do episodes of Stock Charts in Focus here on each of these tools. Expect that coming up. But we started here with the seasonality tool. So go explore that. Have some fun playing around with it. There's a lot there, and it really is a pretty powerful tool to combine with your chart analysis. See how some of those price performance trends have evolved over time. Go back through different time periods, through different sort of blocks of time and different lengths of time, all that. Lots to explore there with seasonality. So I hope you've gotten a lot out of this. It's been fun to show you our seasonality tool. One of my favorites. I use it all the time, and I really do think it's quite a hidden gem on the site. So until next time, we will see you back here for another edition of Stock Charts in Focus very soon. Again, we do this every Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. New episodes, everything up on our YouTube channel as well. You can always find it there. My name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at Stock Charts. It's been fun to be with you. And until the next one, chart on, my friends.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.